Okay, we covered moments ago multiplying decimals using picture models. I put on the Facebook, my class Facebook page that's up here. I put a video, that same video we watched. So you can review that at home if your parents aren't on there. Have them just get on there and follow that page. They don't have to do the whole Facebook thing if they don't want to, but they probably do, because I'm on there and I'm cooler than one person in the world, so just one. The first one. We have 6/10 versus 8/10. 6/10 versus 8/10. Yeah, I already said write these down in your journal so you have examples for multiplying decimals, and then whatever page you're on. Yes, sir.
So we're going to multiply it to be more than zeros?
See, I'm going to go over that. First thing I want to do is estimate it. So I have my first factor is less than 1. My second factor is less than 1. So if I'm multiplying something less than 1 by something less than 1, my product is obviously going to be less than 1. Now, rule 1 in multiplying decimals, is we're going to rewrite it. We're going to completely ignore the decimal points. And since we're completely ignoring the decimal points, my young friend Caleb has a great idea that I really can leave these things off since they don't matter. It's just a 0 in front. The 0 in front's not going to change anything. So then if I rewrite it, yes, for the 19th time. For the 19th time, please let me say, for those people that are listening, even for those people that are not, you're going to write these in your journal.
Okay.
I'm going to do 2 for examples.
Okay.
And then you'll do some on your own. And then we'll go over the ones on your own.
Okay.
And then right before we go to lunch, we'll be done.
Lunch.
Or brunch, since lunch is at 10:30. Now, let's go Blaine. 6 times 8. 48. So now after I have my answer when it's ignoring decimals, I go back to the problem. I count how many numbers are behind the decimal point in the problem.
2.
There are 2 numbers behind the decimal point in the problem. There must be 2 numbers behind the decimal point in the answer.
Can we do the left thingy on?
If you'd like, yes. Now,
Cookie. No cookies.
Now, where we're going to get confused, you need to make sure you count in both factors. You can't say, oh, there's 1 and 1, so it must be 1 number. That's the reason we estimate. Because then we'd look down here, we'd get 4 8/10, and we'd say, well, that's not less than 1 and less than 1. So that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
It doesn't make sense at all. Right?
Why do you think
Yeah, I'm scared.
All right, our factors in this problem.
Oh, yay.
And we're writing it down.
Oh, cool.
And we're writing it down. We have 18 2/10 multiplied by 2 2/10.
Yeah.
Let's do a quick estimate. If I do 18 times 2, that's pretty easy to do in my head. 18 times 2. Rhett.
32.
36. Thank you. Hey, that's fine.
I was close.
We all make mistakes. Watch my videos. I make a mistake in virtually every one of them. So 18 times 2 is 36. So our answer needs to be in the ballpark of 36.
36.
So we need to be, and I might want to write that on my paper. this helps me place my decimal point.
Yeah.
So if you forget how to count,
That's
cattywampus. That is cattywampus.
cattywampus.
We're going to look at, if you forget how to count, you're going to look at your number and it should be somewhere in the neighborhood of 36. I'm just saying.
And if you don't, that's cattywampus.
We rewrite the problem without the decimal points, writing it vertically. Red.
Remember that trick you showed me yesterday?
Yep. It'll work here
I
too.
just noticed that I'm going to save myself a little bit of time by doing that trick because it's 2 twos.
Yep.
I'm so sad.
So let me show you what Rhett learned a little bit in
Oh my God.
tutoring yesterday. We're going to take our ones place. We're going to multiply our ones place all the way through. So 2 times 2 is 4. So that's 4 ones. 2 times 8 is 16, or 16 tens, which is the same as saying 106 tens. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. Now, since we're moving to the tens place, we're putting a 0 in the ones place. Since we're moving to the tens place, we're putting a 0 in the ones place. Now, what Rhett was talking about, I've already multiplied 2 through here and know it's 364. So I just have to put the same number here, and I'm just moving it over one place. So what I've seen is many of you go through it again the same way. 2 times 2 is 4, and then 2 to 16, and put it up. And you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. Another way to look at this problem before we solve it that will also help you, and could have helped you on those quizzes yesterday, is if I take my first factor, 182, and I multiply it by my ones place, times 2 equals, and that's going to equal 364. And now I'm multiplying it by my tens place, which is 20. So if I take 182 times 20, whoever's squeaking, please stop. That's going to equal 3,640.
I like it.
Okay, so if you get all this and you're all confused and your brain's like, if your brain's cattywampus, you can break it apart like this. Multiply your first factor by your ones place. Multiply your first factor by how many tens you have. So you have 2 tens, so that value is 20. That will save you some time. For some of you that are like, I hate 3-digit by 2-digit multiplication. It's like so difficult. I don't know how anybody could even really do it. Because only like Einstein can do it, or Jay-Z, or smart people like that. Kevin Bacon. So now, we have our 2 products. I want to find the sum of our 2 products. Najane, you with me?
Yes, I am. I've been done for years.
So, now I go back and I look. There's 2 numbers behind my decimal point. So I got 40 and 400ths near my estimate. That helps me place my decimal. If I put it here and I got 400 and 4/10, I can look at my estimate and go, yeah, that doesn't make very much sense. Or if I put it here and got 4 and 4/1000, I can look at my estimate and go, yeah, that doesn't really make any sense. What? We did that page 65 the other day. And what I saw from many of you, where it said do the estimate and then find the product, is I saw a lot of you solve the problem and then round it.
What?
That doesn't help you. Because if you solve it wrong, then your estimate's not going to help figure out if it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So, think about this. Now I'm going to put 2 problems up there. You're going to work it on your own. And then we'll go over it. Doesn't matter. Quiet.
What? It's a heart with an S in it. It stands for heart. I heard snakes.
Can we be done talking?
No. Brett? Yes.
Do it anyway.
Aren't you wearing this in your journal? Because what?
5/10.
Later in life, you are not going.
But honestly, what happens if you get pulled on board and you pull your mouth?
So what I want you to do now is I want you to work these problems. I'm going to pause the video. Hopefully I'll remember this time how to
Operate it.
operate it so that I don't stop it completely
Got it.
like I did before. But I want you to solve these problems. If I do it right, I'll just unpause the video. If I forget and I accidentally stop the video, I'll start it again and we'll put two videos instead of just the one.
No, don't stop it.
All right, let's go over these two quickly. If you're not done, just follow along and get it done correctly. First off, I'm going to do my estimate. I have 3 8400ths. I'd say that's close to 4. 4 5/10ths. That's close to 5. So it should be around 20.
15.
No.
No, 12.
Or I could do 3 times 4, so 12. So somewhere in that range, between 12 and 20.
I know.
Okay, I don't have to, when I multiply decimals, we're quiet. I don't have to when I'm multiplying decimals. What my estimate is using, the reason behind it is to help me where I put my decimal point. I mean, that's the biggest reason why I estimate. Because if this was a multiple choice problem, you could probably eliminate 2 of the answers that wouldn't be anywhere between 12 and 20. I'm just saying. All right, so we'll rewrite it. Ignoring the decimal points. We have 384 multiplied by 45. As I walked around, I saw people leaving the decimal points here. And some of those same people that left the decimal points in this part of the problem aren't paying attention now. Rewrite it, ignoring the decimal points. Rewrite, anytime you're multiplying with decimals, rewrite it, ignoring the decimal points. That's going to eliminate some errors. Because what I saw was people multiplying. Najee, I need your attention.
Okay.
What I saw was people multiplying, leaving the decimals in there, and then lining them up. No. We ignore them until we get to our final product. So now we're going to start with our ones place as it's written. 5 times 4 is 20. Put my 0. 5 times 8 is what, class?
40.
40. 40 plus 2 is? 42. It's amazing that some of you didn't finish this and you're not trying to finish it. Then we have 5 times 3, which is what, class? 15 plus 4 is?
19.
What we've just done is we multiplied 384 times 5 and got 1,920.
No, I got 17,000.
We're not done.
I'm sorry.
We're not done. This part right here
Is that
is 384 times 5. This next part, what we're multiplying, is 384 multiplied by 40. Because we have 4 tens, the value of 4 tens is 40. Since I'm starting in my tens place, I must start my product in my tens place. Because if I was just multiplying here, I would automatically just bring that 0 down and then multiply it all through by 4. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm bringing the 0 down from 40, and then I'm going to multiply it by 4 all the way through. So it's just two different ways to look at it. You need to know the reasoning behind it. And this is either a good way to check it, or it's a good way if you're confused. So let's take our 40 all the way through. 4 times 4 is what, class? 16. Carry my 1. 4 times 8.
Is 32.
Plus 1.
33.
4 times 3.
12.
Plus 3.
15.
So 40 times 384 is 15,360. As long as we did our math right. Okay? Then I find the sum of these two products.
0, 8, 12, 6, 7, 17. Yeah.
Now
1,280.
I have 17,280. I go back. I find out how many numbers are behind the decimal point in my problem. 1, 2, 3. 3 behind it in my answer. You'd probably see it written as 17 and 2800ths.
Yeah.
Which is in our estimate range.
Equivalent to 7.280.
That's why I put the equal sign. And that falls in our range of our estimate. That is why estimating is so important. That is why we estimate before we solve the problem. Presley, keep your hands off her, please.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. Can I do the next one?
No, thank you for asking. All right, our first step.
It's to estimate ARF.
Okay, our first step.
Bar sounds like bar.
Yeah.
I got a bar now.
Can we just do math and
Yeah.
not try and entertain?
Let's not do
All right, so I'm going to say, I'm going to find a range. I have 1, if I just look at the front end, 1 times 4, so that's 4. Or if I take this 2 times 5, if I rounded them up, 2 times 5 is 10. So my answer needs to be...
No.
Where did you get 5 from?
Okay, listen to what I said. If I round these both up, I'm just taking them both to the next whole number.
Yeah.
This becomes 2, this becomes 5. I'm not doing actual rounding on them. I'm just moving them up to the nearest whole, or to the next whole number. I took these down to the nearest whole number, and then I took these up to the nearest whole number. That gives me a range for my answer. So my answer should be somewhere between 4 and 10. I don't know if I've told you, but the estimation is very important, and it's important that you do it before
Anything else.
you
actually
do your solution. I'd like to apologize to whichever young lady I have to move, because I have a young lady that's sitting somewhere that's not paying attention, and I really want her to do well in life. After I estimate, I'm going to rewrite. Ignoring the decimal points. If I broke it up into steps, I'm going to do 19 times 3. And 19 times 4 tens is 40. The value of 4 tens is 40.
Yes.
So we're doing a couple things we're learning here. We're practicing our estimation. We're going to practice our algorithm for multiplication. We're going to see why the algorithm moves this way. Okay, we are learning lots of knowledge.
No.
Now I multiply my ones place through. Class, 3 times 9 is? 27.
Carry the 2.
Class, 3 times 1?
3.
Plus 2?
5.
Okay, done with that. Now, since I'm starting in my tens place, that's why the 0 goes there, because 4 tens is the same as saying 40. It is.
57.
57.
Okay? So now I take my 4 times 9 is
36.
36. 4 times 1
4.
plus 3,
7.
7. I find the sum of those two products. I have 7, 11,
711.
1. 2 numbers behind my decimal point. You should have gotten 8 and 17 hundredths.
I'm a math.
That falls.
I won't run.
That falls within our estimate. So as long as we did our multiplication correctly, then we are golden. Okay, put your journals away.